Alrighty, how's it going everyone? My name is Lawrence from Expressed Unity, and for the first series on my newly created YouTube channel, I will be doing game creation from start to finish. Now this is the game idea itself, how I come up with it, to creating the assets, to actually publishing the game and releasing it to platforms such as Steam. So that's what this series will be all about. So I'm going into this blind. I have no script. I have no idea what game I'm going to make. But there is one thing I do want to do for it, and that is pixel art. Now, I haven't been doing pixel art for that long, so I'm not the best at it. But I thought, you know, in order to start somewhere, why not just make a game out of it? So, I mean, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So, let me just exit Steam so we don't get any of those unwanted messages. Okay, so, now where I start when I create my ideas is a pretty simple method, really. Now, I already have something in my head where I kind of do want to make kind of like a Paper Mario kind of game. So, so that's where I'm going to expand from, right? So, I mean, we'll just write it down. Paper Mario. Okay, so that's gonna be kind of our inspiration. Okay, so we're gonna try and do a 3D environment, but we're going to have 2D characters pretty much. So what I like to do next is really just plan out what I'm going to be doing myself. So here we go. So this is where things really, you kind of need to just think deep for quite a while, and me doing this recording, you know, kind of rushing things, but I mean, we'll see how we go. So, Paper Mario, we're gonna want your main character. So, character. And then this branches out to a whole other category. I'm formatting this in kind of like a coding sense. In Notepad you have this language, and I've just got C# selected. It's just easier for me to read as a coder, as being a coder as my primary source. It's just easier for me. So character, we can expand through that. Maybe we can do levels, right? Expand it there, and then maybe art. And then after that, we can have logic. So like what the game is about. I don't think there's necessarily going to be a storyline to the game. More of just kind of completing each level and getting the highest score you can get, right? So maybe in character we can have a few special abilities that the character can do. So, I mean, how about a slide? So double tap the left or right key, and you can dash through enemies. I think dash would be the proper term, not slide. So you can dash through enemies. Definitely want to get that double jump in. And then go for maybe a bit of inspiration from Mario again, and do the actually no, that would be in levels. So in levels, we'll do let's see, what would you call it? I mean, maybe we'll call it block interactions. So basically, when there's there's blocks with the exclamation marks above the player, and then they can jump, or the bricks where the player can jump up and see if there's something inside that particular object. So we have that. The art is going to be pixel slash 3D. You know what I might do so it doesn't get that weird formatting is in C#, if you double slash, it'll comment like that. And then logic for the game. So again, this is basically where I would put what I plan certain things to do. So I mean, the objective of the game could be collect, for now we'll just say collect coins, right? Because there's not really a story to the game that I can come up with. I mean, this is where all it comes together. You can come up with this story, do all that stuff, but not really going to go too far into a whole idea, my whole idea process, because that takes me sometimes days, even weeks. It's quite a long process, and to shorten it down to just let's say 10 videos maximum is quite the task. So we're gonna try and make the best game I possibly can with just this. We'll give it a 10 video limit. So that's my limit. In 10 videos, which isn't a very long time, I want to try and release a game to maybe itch.io. And then if I deem it worthy, then we might consider putting it on Steam. So yeah. So in the art, so we can start thinking about what we want the levels to look like. So I mean, we're definitely gonna want some of the grass texture, maybe a bit of the rocky side, some sort of brick, or go with the box texture for holding like items or something. Wood, like a tree, maybe some water. So yeah, you get the idea there. So what else could we do for logic? So we could do something like total 3 lives. We could do something like if all 3 lives have been taken, we start the game from level 1. So basically, the game will save the progress you've made. Can't talk right now. So the game will save the progress you've made for every single level, but if you run out of lives, you start the entire game again. So we can do something like that. We can even do something like timer per level. So we'll give each level a timer, which is keeps like a high score track per level, so that if people are interested in speedrunning the game, that's something that they can do. And then we can do score per level, so it saves the high score per level, and so on. Alright, I am just thinking if we should just start on the art process, just getting something in, and making it look all nice. So I think we will. So yeah, okay. So the programs I'll be using is Pixel Edit, Unity 3D, 2018.1.1 F1. The latest, actually no, it's not the latest, I think there's a new one now, but yeah, if you want to follow along, this is my Unity version. And of course I'll be using Blender. And there is a plugin that I'm using with Blender, but I'll get to that once we actually start using Blender. I'm not sure if we'll get to it in this video or the next, but yeah, as you can see, it's almost 2 AM here. But yeah, I kind of had this idea for starting this series, and I kind of just wanted to try it out and get the first episode. Alright, so I'm gonna create a new document. Number of tiles, 48 by 48. Yeah, should be good. So if you are interested in using Pixel Edit, I can't quite recall how much the price is now, but I got this program in a humble bundle a while back for like $3. So I think it retails for $15 if you do want to follow along. But if you don't, there are so many other programs that are available for free that you can use. You can use GIMP and all that kind of stuff, but I kind of like Pixel Edit because it is solely dedicated to pixel art, and it gives you all the tools you need just for pixel art. No, you know, just no bulk of stuff you're never going to use with pixel art. It's just everything you need for pixel art, so that's why I'm using it. So alright, let's see, what did we have listed first? Grass. So like I said, I'm not the best at this. Pixel art is something I'm trying to, you know, get good at, but yeah, let's see. Alright, so we'll create the top down tile. So maybe some dark patches. Just gonna put some random dots in. For now, it doesn't really matter what this all looks like. It's really just going to be more of a placeholder. And then if it looks good in the end, then we keep it. You know, there's nothing wrong in keeping art that was originally meant to be a placeholder if it looks good. Add a little bit of variety. I don't want it to get too crazy. Maybe a bit of darker colors. So we're just keeping it real simple. What's the next one? Rock. Okay. So maybe give it a slight bluish feel to it. Might go just a bit lighter actually. Like that. Get the pencil tool, go darker. I'm just gonna draw some random shapes for the rocks. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, completely random. I don't think that looks good. You basically just need to play with it. See what looks good, see what doesn't. Yeah, we'll keep it like that. Give it a little more depth, so get a darker color, maybe a touch darker. And we'll just basically get some shadows, some shadow effect on the bottom of each basically stone face that's coming out. Like so. And then we will get a lighter color for the top. it's always good just to look in the preview, because sometimes you may feel that there's not enough detail, but then when it's, you know, kind of in its actual size, you look at it and think, yeah, it's actually not that bad. So here we are. Alright, I mean, I don't think it looks that bad, but it could be better. Alright, now we're going for the box, so bit of a brown color for the outside of it, like so. Maybe a darker brown, like this. And then a lighter brown for the middle. Use the color that we used before, and we'll do a diagonal line down. And the same the opposite way. Oops. You can always just zoom in. Maybe make it just see how it looks like this. It's all about experimenting, really. Same when you're creating your ideas, you just want to experiment. Nothing's going to be perfect the first time, so don't be discouraged if it doesn't look good, if your idea doesn't turn into what it is. You can just, you know, just think of a way to adapt. Okay, so I think that looks alright. So now we'll do what we did for the rock. We'll just make the bottom edge here maybe darker. And maybe the top just a tad lighter. Ooh, that's pretty much the same color. Yeah, I mean, it's alright. I'm happy with it. Now, I can see that I forgot to do that. There you go. Yeah, it looks alright. Looks like a box. Alrighty, what did I do next? Alright, wood. So this wood will be for like the bark of a tree or something. So let's see, maybe a lighter color, like so. Ooh, color it in. Get a lighter brown. What does that look like? Yeah, that's alright. And basically just do lines that follow each other like so. And we'll get a darker brown and just roughly follow that same path, but not exactly. It's going to be kind of like the shadow. Okay, so you can see it up there. It looks alright. Okay. So tree, when I said tree I was meaning leaves, so yeah, we'll try maybe that color. Color it in. Now what I'll do is I'm going to just get this circle tool and just make 4x4s. No, that won't work. 2, yeah. So I'll continue doing this. Like so. Okay, perfect. And then maybe we do just a lighter greenish color just for the top of these leaves, just to give them a little bit of shine. You can be a bit random with this, but I mean, at this point, when it's this early in the development of a game, you tend to not really worry that much about your art, especially when it comes to more placeholders like these. Again, like I said, placeholders can turn into an actual asset in the game. It doesn't matter if it looks good to you. If you show it to your friend and they say it looks good, then you know it you don't need to change it. You don't need to improve it unless it's lacking compared to other elements in the game. Alright, so I mean that's the top of my tree, leaves, looks all good. And water. So water is gonna just be pretty similar to that rock one. So let's see, maybe we get maybe a blue. Very light whitish blue, like so. And then we like this. You know, you're just filling it in. You're just trying to find what works. You kind of just fall into a trance when you do it, and hope it all looks decent when you're done. So yeah, we'll give it a bit of a shine, like that. I think the color I used over here is probably not the best. Yeah. Let's go back to the blue and I mean, we'll come back and change it later. For now, that looks fine. Alright, so that's a basics done. Now we kind of want to think about now what I'm making here is going to be for 3D space, right? So we're basically making the textures for our level. So we've got our top of the grass. This will definitely be the walls. So what we are going to do is get the select tool and basically copy and paste that into the bottom square there, and we're going to grab this green here. We're kind of just going to make it so it looks like the grass is creeping over the edge. So, like this. Okay. And then maybe give it a bit of randomness, like so. Now we're going to continue using the greens up here, so a darker green can be kind of just for the shadow underneath it. So we're kind of just gonna follow the grass pattern around, like so. Okay, and then we're gonna get this other lighter green and just pretty much speckle it like what we did for this. Okay, now that looks alright to me. And I think for a basic level, that should be just about fine for a start. Okay, so I'm gonna open up Unity. Start a new project, and for now I'll just call Express Unity. I'll change it to my organization. You can change that to whatever. Yeah, we leave it on 3D and create project. Could probably turn off the analytics because I don't plan to export this game to any mobile apps or any of that, or Facebook or anything like that. However, because we are just using pixel art, it shouldn't be that demanding. If we set up all our textures to have shadows and lighting like we already do, there is almost no need for shadows and all that inside the actual engine. But yeah, we'll just see how this goes. Wait for it to load. Alrighty. And I'm gonna set up a new folder. We'll call it Sprites. And I'm gonna create another folder called Sheets. And inside this, I'm gonna maybe call it Level 1. Okay. Close out of services. Alrighty. So first of all, so we don't lose this, let's save the pixel project. We'll just call it Level 1. That simple. Now we just want to export it as an image. PNG will be fine. Looks like it's already in the correct path, and save. So if we go into Unity, you can see Unity is making it all blurry. That's not what you want inside the engine. First thing you want to do is change it to a sprite. Hit apply. Already you can see that it's pretty crisp, right? But when you apply it onto a model, it will have basic anti-aliasing on it. So this filter mode, just change it to point, and then hit apply, and it'll basically be as crisp as can be inside of the engine. So before I end the video, let's just make a basic level with what we have inside of Blender. So open up Blender. The version of Blender I'm using is 2.79, but it doesn't really matter. Should work on all versions. So the plugin I'm using is called Sprite Tile Tools. I will link it in the description. But basically what it allows us to do is model with this texture, the sprite sheet we just made. So I'm gonna load my tile set. Just find my folder. It's a good thing I cleaned out all my projects, because otherwise there would be a lot more to try and find the stuff I'm working on. Alright, so it's loaded in. It should be in textures. There it is. So now I enter edit mode and I remove all current vertices. And I can click on build. And look at that, we have our sprite, our sprite sheet there, but something weird's off, right? If I try to paint now, it's using basically 4 blocks. And that's because we need to change our grid size. So right now it's 32 by 32, but we set it to 16 by 16. So that's exactly what we need to do here, 16 by 16. Now you can see our grid size is pretty much spot on. So we have a rock here. So let's make a basic platform, nothing too fancy. So the point for sprite tile, the origin here, is where you can paint, right? So wherever this point is where the plane of where you can paint is. So in order to move it over here, you hold S and the plane will jump there and you can let go. And then that allows you to then paint on this side. Again, hold S, put it on there, on that vertex there, and just keep doing it. I think that was too far. And there you go. Now we have this other tile here that goes above it before we put the grass on. So let's do that. Like so. And you can really see that it's starting to take shape now. Our 2D pixel art is turning into something that is pleasing to look at. Alrighty, now we get our grass and we can clamp the point to the top vertex and we look at it from above, or we can just start painting it in like so. Alrighty, how cool is that? Our first asset. Now we can keep adding onto it. Now our water tile is something that is not the best, I must admit, but we can just paint around it with the water tile just so it doesn't look like it basically completes the model. So if we're going to, so you can do a few things, right? You can model your assets one by one, so block by block, and put them together in the Unity engine, or you can make your levels like this, all inside of Unity, and then only separate the things you need. So like, if you need like a certain trigger or a button or something like that, that's basically what you would do. Just model them separately. Alright, so maybe now a tree. We'll clamp our point to the top here, and we'll put maybe like that. Okay. Cool. And then our leaves. So we want to get our point to the top. We'll look at. Okay. So maybe too wide like that. For now, it doesn't need to be that fancy. We'll just make it just a square top. Might actually be just a bit too much. Just a little bit over the top. Let's remove all that again. Oops, not that far. Okay, we're gonna have to do that again, sadly. Okay, get this. Yeah, that'll do. Oops. There we go. Alright. And then, oops, it's not snapping to what I wanted to snap, snapping to the bottom tile. Sometimes it gets a little weird. Alright. Something just happened there for me to not be able to close it off. Oh, there we go. That's finally done. Alrighty. Snap it there. Like that. Okay, so something really basic. But we've turned our pretty much our basic 2D sprite sheet into something 3D, and that looks pretty good. Might just add just a box or two. Now these boxes I will remove because these are something that I actually want to be able to manipulate with code. So it gets really weird, this plugin sometimes, but you just have to make do with what you have. Okay, add outside of edit mode, this is our entire model, like so. Alrighty, so now we can just save as, and navigate to our Unity folder. Whoops, I just went back. There we go. And I'm going to create a new folder called models, and I will create another folder called land, and then maybe we'll call this land 1, save, go into Unity, let it load. There it is, land 1, and you can see it hasn't got a texture. Now, it'll do that because we haven't actually exported it, so it's not going to export the material with it, but we already have the tile sheet in Unity. All we need to do is drag that onto our object, and it's going to apply everything where it should be. So yeah, we can go onto the actual object and manipulate how we want it to look, smoothness. So I want it to look pretty cartoony, so I basically don't want any smoothness or metallic. It's just going to be straight flat like that. And then something we can do is add a mesh collider. Now this isn't going to be something that moves, so we basically don't need to do anything else. We just chuck on the mesh collider, and then if we can create a cube, create a new game object, create a cube. See, the cube is fairly big, but we're creating everything to scale in Blender, so it doesn't matter what the default Unity size is. It should all be sweet. So just add a rigid body, throw it up a bit, and if the collision worked, it should bounce and then drop. Well, it hit there. Let's add it to the side a bit so it hits the water. Yep, there you go. Alrighty. So you can actually see that there is a bit of a problem. Now the tile set we used, right, it doesn't detect when you're looking underneath something, right? It'll only place a tile flat when you're looking above, and so the faces are actually the wrong way over here. So we can fix that by going back into Blender, edit mode, click on the face tool, and highlight all the faces that are facing the wrong way, press space, and then type flip normals, like so, and then just save the Blender file, wait for it to load in Unity, and it should all be good inside of Unity. So yeah, this was episode 1 of creating a game from start to finish, including publishing the game. And then, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the first episode of hopefully what will be a successful series, and I teach a lot of you guys how I do it. Now, everything I'm showing you is just my personal way of doing things. It's definitely not the correct way. I don't even think you could say there is a correct way, because it's different for everyone, you know? So yeah, thank you for watching. My name is Lawrence, and I'll see you guys in episode 2.